What's up, everybody? Ben, Rasa and Matt Gajewski here for Awesemo Odds, and we are back talking all things Monday Night Football, best bets, best props, everything that you need to get ready for what is surely going to be an instant classic, Bears-Steelers. I'm going to try to spin this ugly game as best I can, but before we dive into our favorite plays, got to tell you about our friends at BetMGM. If you've not been over there and you're a new user, deposit $10 or more using the link in the description of this video. You're going to get a risk-free bet of up to $1,000, as well as 3 free months of Awesemo Plus Platinum coverage for all the sports: NFL, college football, college hoops, of course the NBA, the whole team, all the tools. It is a no-brainer deal. Have to use the link in the description of this video. While you're there, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. But let's dive into this game. Matt, I'm going to get things started if you're cool with that. I have one side or one total that I actually kind of like.
Let's hit it.
This feels kind of gross, but I'm getting my card started with over 39.5 points. It's a low total. You know, sometimes with these low totals, I always say they can't set them low enough. This is one I actually think both defenses are kind of getting a little name recognition bump. And when you dig into the numbers, they're not terrible units, but they're not the elite units that we've seen in years past. So 39.5, obviously a very solid number. And then I'm just going to look to Justin Fields specifically. This is a guy that is still in his infancy in the league, but what we see to me is real ability and also a ton of mistakes. I'm going to take you back 2 weeks ago. He had 5 turnovers against Tampa Bay. If you turn the ball over that much, points are going to be put up. Then last week, he has 103 yards rushing. That's fantastic. He threw a pick. He also fumbled twice, and he recovered both of them. So it just shows there's a lot of big, quick change ability with this guy. To me, that is a good thing for the over. We know what the Steelers are going to do. They've got guys on the outside. They've got Najee. I think they win the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fields makes a couple huge plays and also maybe gifts them a touchdown. For all those reasons, I think we see a reasonable output from both offenses. Give me over 39.5 to get things started.
I think that's a solid bet, and I think you can look to some of the injuries in the game too, particularly on the Bears side. And I think this is a Bears team that's known for their defense, whether that's right or wrong. I think that remains to be seen a little bit yet. But there's no Khalil Mack, who I think is clearly their best defender. And it doesn't look like we're going to see Eddie Jackson either, who's doubtful for this game, one of their better DBs. So when you're missing 2 key pieces like that, although Pittsburgh hasn't been super efficient on offense this year, those are 2 key losses that'll be really hard for the Bears to overcome, which just lend itself to points being scored.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to try to say that the Bears or even the Steelers offense is this high-octane unit, but I do think they have enough. I do think there are still playmakers there, and I kind of want to pass that to you. Are there any playmakers, guys on the outside, backs, that kind of caught your eye potentially in the prop market?
One really gross one, and it's not going to feel good taking these, but it is Allen Robinson, perhaps the most disappointing season we've seen from a Bears player this year. But because of that, his props have fallen to a range where I think the overs are becoming a very sharp play. You could hit receptions or receiving yards here. I would prefer going with the receiving yards. They're, depending on where you look, you could find these as low as 37.5. That's currently out there on FanDuel. But just comparing that to our personal projections, we have them up at 49.5. And I think there's a couple reasons for this. One, Justin Fields continues to improve. You've belabored that point, so I won't elaborate any further. But then you have Allen Robinson just going off a larger sample through his career. He's been the clear alpha receiver with poor quarterback play, and I think even worse quarterback play than what we've seen from Fields at times. And then you can look to his stats. He still has a 22% target share in this offense. By no means is that poor. They've just been a very low volume passing attack this year. But in today's game, you have the Steelers projected to win by 7 points based on what bookmakers are saying. That should be a lot of passing volume for Fields, or at least more than we've seen in the past, which could elevate Robinson as well. It all culminates to projections lining up with the low line here. I think you can look over on his receiving props.
Yeah, and just for the receptions, if you want to go there, BetMGM 3.5 at plus 120 to the over. So you're going to get some plus money. If you want to take it, just to add some context, the Bears are throwing the ball 26 times per game, dead last in the league. I think that part of that is because they think that they can hang in, you know, with defense and efficiency, but when they fall behind, and I think they do tonight, they're going to have to elevate that. And you mentioned the target share is very healthy. It's not that. It's a volume issue. If you're going to tell me that Fields throws the ball north of 30 times tonight, I absolutely think that Allen Robinson can snag, 4 to 5 balls at the minimum and get over both of those props. I am with you on that front. It's a perfect segue. This is why we do the synergy. Justin Fields' prop himself, 180.5 passing yards. I'm going to lean to the over. It is minus 115 at BetMGM, but I'm okay with that. Again, it's what we just talked about. I do think if the Bears get up, and they don't have to, they'd love Fields to throw the ball. They'll go Jalen Hurts 2 weeks ago, throw the ball 15 times. I just don't see that happening. I think they are going to fall behind. And if he is pushed, he obviously has some abilities. If you give him some volume, I think he can clear this. This is a very pedestrian line. And again, are the Steelers defense, they're not awful. They're a fine unit, but I don't think they're the best, most elite defense that we've seen in years past. And I look at Fields, he's certainly got the ability on the ground, but he's not a terrible passer, in my opinion. This is still a guy, in the last couple weeks, he's shown the ability. He makes some turnovers, but again, when we're talking about yards, that's okay. You don't have to be efficient. We just need the volume. So 180.5, if he's going to give me 30 plus pass attempts, we're asking for basically 6 yards per passing attempt. Can he clear that? I think he can. If we get a lot of volume, we don't even need to be that efficient. Can I convince you to jump on that along with your Allen Robinson prop?
Yeah, those two props obviously correlated, so they relate to each other very well. But I think with Fields, you can just isolate his recent play, and he seems to just be getting more comfortable with NFL offenses. I think the overall Bears, their coaching staff is starting to get more comfortable with him. He's at least 27 attempts in each of the last 3 games. And prior to that, he hadn't thrown the ball more than 20 times in any contest all year. So I think just more time under center, they're getting more comfortable with him. And obviously volume is going to be key for something like this. And there's always room for him to improve in efficiency. This current prop is priced as if he's going to be throwing the ball like 22, 23 times per game with moderate efficiency. I think there's always the chance he throws the ball more if they're losing. And there's also the chance he's more efficient just with more time under center. So I'm with you on this.
Yep, I do think it has priced in kind of his floor output in volume and just efficiency. So we've got some good ones. We're looking for points tonight, particularly with the Bears. If they score a lot, I think we're going to be in business across the board. But that'll do it for us. Thanks again for stopping in. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel on your way out. And of course, stay tuned for more Awesemo odds VODs from me, Matt, and the whole team. Good luck tonight.